My 365 Podcasts with me, Pete Cohen. Hey guys, welcome to today's podcast on superhero or victim, or maybe superhero or villain. I believe that in life we have a choice. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I used to love watching superheroes. And if you didn't like superheroes, well, what did you like? You liked stories. And what did those stories always have? They had a hero, and they had victims, and they had villains. And listen, I believe in life, you can create a better life. You can create a better story. That's what My 365 is all about. It's about you going to work on yourself. If you can do that for 365 days, that would be amazing, to really work on yourself. But one of the best ways to learn is to learn from other people who have already achieved what it is that you want to achieve. And on our podcast, what we're looking to do is share with you some tips, tools, and strategies to help you along the way. Because you know what? Any superhero or any hero, what did they have to go through? Adversity. What did they have to go through? Nightmares. What did they have to go through? A whole load of challenging things. And in many cases, those things knocked them out, knocked them off their feet, but they came back. And sometimes they came back even stronger. Now, for many people, my favorite film as a child was Rocky III. I loved that film. It was all about, obviously, Rocky in his third fight. He was like many people in their life. He was just kind of drifting and coasting, never really having to he got comfortable. And there's nothing wrong with being comfortable. But for so many people, there is a burning desire within them to do more, to be more, to create. And what I want to do in this podcast with you today is share with you the differences between the mentality of someone who is a hero and someone who is a victim. I believe there's a huge difference, and most of us are in a victim type mentality. What does that mean? Well, for most of us, we're pretty hard on ourselves. For most of us, we don't really fulfill the potential that we have. I believe that what we should all be doing is observe what the masses are doing and then do the opposite. If you look at the masses and you think, okay, where are the masses? Well, my background is in psychology, and I'm pretty convinced that most people are not that happy. They are kind of just existing. And of all the points I'm ever going to make to any of you on these podcasts, when you listen to other people's stories, you'll realize that many of the people have worked very hard to get to where they are today. They didn't just wake up and find themselves successful. Now, just imagine this. Picture this. Imagine all of the things that you take for granted are taken away from you. I'm talking about electricity, gas, cars, shops, processed food. Well, that'd be good to get rid of that anyway. And what would you have to do? Well, we'd have to go out and forage. We'd have to go out and look for food. We're programmed to do that. Even though you might not have done it, it probably wouldn't take you very long to realize, start eating from trees and whatever, and find food if you ate meat, to hunt and whatever, work in packs. We are designed to do that, but we are not designed to be successful. When I'm talking about successful, I mean, happy, full of energy, financially free, to be confident. We're not designed for that. We have to work at it. We have to groove our brains, and we have to go to school on that. Now, many of us, when you mention going to school, most people go, I don't want to go to school. I spent enough time in school learning a whole lot of stuff that I never ever use, rather than learning stuff that is exciting and learning stuff that inspires you. Now, My 365, as we all know, is all about going to work on ourselves, learning from others, and actually wanting more. A victim doesn't want more. A victim just wants things to be as they are, perhaps living in hope that things won't get any worse. So what a victim does, if you can picture this in your mind, a triangle. At the top of the triangle, just imagine the word victim. Then imagine at the bottom right is the word rescuer. And then imagine bottom left is another word called bully. That's how most people live. The victim lives in a world where they often want to be rescued, or they look for rescuers, or if they could be a rescuer and they look to rescue victims. And then bullies, they often allow themselves to bully themselves, to be hard on themselves, or allow people to dominate and take advantage of them. That's when, if you put yourself in the middle, or other people that you know, they're victims and they are caught in that. And it's so easy to do that. That's where the masses are. That's where the masses who are watching soap opera. Can you imagine putting a child in front of a soap opera? Could you imagine that? Putting a 3-year-old in front of a soap opera or a scary movie. They're not going to want to watch that. They want to hear a story that inspires them. In fact, it's so funny because imagine this, those of you who've got kids, or imagine where you were a kid and if one of your parents were reading you a book and they're reading Jack and the Beanstalk, and let's just say it got to the bit where, and then he woke the giant. Okay, good night, son. See you in the morning. What would your son do? He go, no, please, tell me the end of the story. No, son, no, your son wouldn't sleep. Even though he maybe heard the story 10, 20 times, he still needs to know what happened. What happened? Well, we all know Jack ended up being able to take care of him and his mum, and they lived happily ever after. People love stories, and if we're not careful and creating the story that we want, we'll continue to live out the story of being a victim. Does that make sense? I believe life is difficult enough as it is in the real world. We have to become a hero in our own life, and not just a hero, a superhero. That's why we often like watching these films, because we watch a hero and we relate to it in some. We feel good. How about doing that ourselves? So let's go from victim to hero. So you can picture that triangle. Let's look at another triangle. And on the top of that triangle, let's write the word creator. That you go from being a victim to a creator. In fact, now picture this word, reactive. Picture that word, reactive. Now take the C out of the word reactive and put it at the front before the R. What do you have? Creative. Victims react. Creators create. What is the life that you want to create? If you want to create a better life, then you don't get what you want, you get what you picture. So heroes tend to be very clear as to where they're going. If you look at the successful people, especially the people that we've interviewed on the My 365 podcast, they're very clear. They've got a very, very clear picture of where their life is going. If you need help with that, which some people do because it's training, check out our daily broadcasts on Facebook, on Periscope. Just follow me, Pete Cohen. And we do this stuff. We train people because people need help. And it's free. So what have you got to lose? I don't know. What maybe most people have got to lose is a lifetime of investing in themselves as a victim. If you had £1 or $1 or a yen, wherever you are in the world right now, for every time you victimize yourself, you'd be very rich. For most people, they really struggle to let go of what it is that they don't need. Does that make sense? Listen, you're not alone here. This is just stuff that the information that I'm giving, people need to know all over the world. So we've gone from victim to creator. Picture that other triangle. Top, creator. Bottom right, we've got coaches. So you go from rescuer to coach or coaches. You need a coach. Everyone needs a coach. All of the top people in the world, they've all been coached, whether it was Martin Luther King, who was nervous about starting his speech to 1 million people. Can you believe that? He got 1 million people to march on Capitol Hill with no phones, no emails. Well, there were phones, but most people didn't have phones in those days. It's amazing the movement that was created. You can create a similar movement in your own life just for you. And he said to his wife, I'm nervous. His wife said, just tell them you have a dream. I have a dream. Do you have a dream? Maybe your dream is a nightmare. If you have a victim mentality, your dream will not be a wonderful story that ends happily ever after. You see, if you don't have that hero mentality, you're going to be challenged because obstacles are coming their way. Challenges are coming their way. But if you're the creator in your life and you've got coaches, you'll get stronger. That's the bottom right, coaches. From rescuer to coach. Bottom left, challenges. From bullies to challenges. If you look at people that come into your life and they're difficult or situations, you should look at them as challenges. Picture yourself in the middle of that triangle with a cape. You're a superhero. My emblem, Batman is obviously a bat, Spider-Man is a spider, Superman is the letter S, my is P, not for Peter, but for passion. And that's the other area that reminds me of Tony Robbins, a guy who's very well known in the field of personal development, who says, live with passion. And I totally believe that. You've got to live with passion and discipline. Superheroes are disciplined enough to work on their craft. Your craft should be you being better, you being healthier, you being more productive, you being more relaxed, you being whatever it is that you want to be. You've got to be disciplined to work on that. Once again, that's why we do our daily broadcast, so people can tap in every single day to something that inspires them to continue to work on themselves. Because if you don't, you'll fall back into the victim mentality and you'll react to life rather than creating the life that you want. So when you're passionate about working on yourself, you can do great things. Now, as I come to the end of this podcast, I just want to say something that I have actually said before. Many of you have heard me say this, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to say it again. Inspiration is for amateurs. Shall I say it again? Inspiration is for amateurs. What does that mean? What do you mean inspiration is for amateurs? I mean, if you're waiting to be inspired and something to happen for you, good luck. You've got to start taking action. It's like exercise. Many people aren't inspired to do it, so they don't do it. But often when people just start, they get going, and then the feeling of inspiration comes. You know, anything in life worth doing has to be worth working towards. Please start to see yourself as a hero in your own life. Start to see yourself as someone whose the best days are ahead of you. Listen to our podcast, listen to the stories of other people and what they went through. See what you can learn from them. I really, really appreciate you guys listening in and taking the time. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please review it. Please share it with other people. Let's get this information out there to the world and help everyone, or as many people who want to be helped. Thank you so much, guys. Have an awesome, awesome day, and we'll see you next time on a My 365 podcast. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and if you want more free inspiration to optimize your life so you can achieve your goals in all the different areas of your life, then visit my365.me. That's mi365.me and sign up to 365 days of free coaching with me, Pete Cohen. Thanks for listening and have an awesome day.